Hello, friends and fellow board gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Board Games with Rob. Today, I'm really excited to present the first video in what I hope to be a series of videos featuring all-play trick-taking games. Now, trick-taking games are kind of a mechanic that always really enjoyed, but didn't realize just how much and how unique some of these games are that exist out there to get. And then All Play, who's right in my backyard, they're probably 10 minutes from here. My goodness, they've got a whole lineup of trick-taking games that I wasn't even aware of. I mean, I always, would see their booth at cons, and man, they do such a really good job in setting that up. I mean, it looks really neat, and I knew them always to have small little games, but I didn't realize just how many of those were trick takers. So today I'm going to feature one of the games in that lineup, and that is Sail. Now, Sail is kind of unique. It's a cooperative trick-taking game for two players. Now, we've seen the emergence of a lot of cooperative trick-taking games, The Crew being one of them. There's Fox and the Forest Duet. But this one's unique in that there's a board. So let's go down to the table and let me talk a little bit about how this is played. Now, one of the things I do want to stress, this does have some upgraded components, and I really want to thank All Play for providing those upgrades. I had gotten the game on my own, but they were kind enough to send me the upgraded components, and I really do. That's one of the things they're known for. They provide some really cool and inexpensive upgrades for their games, which are always in these small boxes to begin with, and they just really add some zing to the game. And I really prefer the upgrades in this particular game. But as you can see, there's a lot going on here, but it's really not that complicated. The gameplay is featured around this board, and you're trying to get from the start all the way to any one of these three pieces, these three little sections at the end. And I will say there are, let me see here. I've got they give you a bunch of different scenarios that you can choose from. These are some of the expansion scenarios that I've got. I've got the first, there's a training scenario, and then this is scenario one in the game. And so, yeah, you're just trying to get from here down to here, get your ship, and avoiding the Kraken. You're going to be facing off against the Kraken. And then there's some, and I laid these on the side too, by the way. These 3D pieces are really kind of cool. Um, just so that you could see what they look like by lying them on the side. So you're going to have a certain amount of rounds to get there by, and a round is completed when the first person wins 4 tricks. And so you'll have this sitting in between the two players with a player on either side. And as a player would win a trick, they would scoot this up, and then eventually, once somebody gets to their 4th trick, that will end the round. And that adds some of the complexity to this game. Is, you want to be able to win tricks, but you want to share that amongst yourselves so that you get the biggest bang for your buck out of your round. Now, the game will be played by dealing out the deck, which is comprised of 3 different suits. All right, let's look at some of these cards that we've got. And so, as you can see, there's 3 different colored suits ranging from 1 to 9, and 9 being the highest. And you can see in the top left there, each one has a particular symbol. So you've got a mermaid tail, you've got, in this case, a cannon, and you've got a wheel, a ship wheel. And those are important because the way that you take actions is by pairing up is by pairing up 2 cards, right? So let's say that, we had these 2 cards paired up against one another. Well, that would be 2 steering wheels. And now they're 2 different suits. So it follows the normal rules of trick taking. You have to follow suit, and then the highest card wins. There is no trump. You just follow the suit. What's really cool about this, however, are based upon the actions, the combinations on the card, you'll do a bunch of different things. So for example, if you look at this shows all the possibilities of different icons that you could get. So right there at the top is one of the most important actions that you can get, and that's the 2 wheels. And that is how you will move your boat. Now, what's really neat about this, guys, is that depending upon who won the trick, the boat will either go up or down. And so you want to avoid hitting the Kraken. Now, hitting the Kraken will make you put, you're going to take damage, and damage is represented by putting cards from the Kraken deck, which is tracked here on this component. And there's a track that'll make this Kraken go up, and essentially, well, I'll get to that here in just a little bit. But this deck is comprised of the twos and the threes. I mentioned it goes from 1 to 9. I'm sorry, it has the ones and the twos in there. So these are like the real low cards, and as you can see, they've got the Kraken symbol on there. And so when you take damage, you'll take cards from the Kraken deck and put them into your deck, which is going to add some pretty crummy cards to the deck. Other things, though, you can mitigate that with getting, you get these different actions of the cannon and one of those Kraken cards. And if you do that, then you can thin that deck out and take some of those Kraken cards and put them back into the Kraken deck. If you notice, one of the actions that you'll wind up taking a lot of the time is there is a card that has a steering wheel and a Kraken on it. And so if you have one player that plays the steering wheel and then one with the steering wheel with the Kraken, well, yeah, you'll get to move, but you're going to take a damage and you're going to have to put that card into your deck. So that's where those cannons will come into use. And so knowing when to play a cannon, or when somebody leads with a cannon, you might want to, as the alternate, the partner, you might want to get rid of, that tentacle card if you can. Now, what's really cool though is if you can get those two mermaid tails, that's where you'll move forward the equivalent of going up and down. You'll move your token directly across one space. So it's a way to get across the board really, really fast. Now at the end of the round, what you'll do is you'll wind up replenishing your deck, and if you ever get to this card that's at the bottom of the Kraken deck, well then that's what's going to trigger this Kraken token going up one. And then this is how many cards you have to at the end of the round place from the Kraken deck into your deck. So as you can see, as you're going through round to round, you are going to be building up your deck with a lot of these bad Kraken cards that you're going to want to thin out. So therein lies a lot of this is a hard this is a hard cooperative game, folks. You've got to balance moving forward on the board and thinning your deck to be able to reach that goal. I've been able to do it once, and I've played a couple dozen times actually with a bunch of different people. The mountains, or the islands, the mountain islands, you can't, you won't take damage. You just can't run into them. If you were to win the trick and force the ship to go into one of those, you just won't take that action. And that's it. Now, another cool thing about the game is it adds, everybody gets to be a captain. So in this particular case, this captain, if one was to get two of the wheels, then this guy would actually let you move like a mermaid, going directly across one. This one, now one of the things I didn't mention is, oh, actually, there is a card in here. If you do two cannons, then what you will do is you will turn over the next card in your deck, and then based upon the action in there, you'll take one of these actions. The action icon being on that card, then you'll do one of these actions. There is a captain that allows you to draw two cards from the deck instead of one, and then you get to pick the best action. But now here's another captain where if you get the two-wheel Kraken cards, you can go really far across the deck, or across the board. So there's a whole plethora of different captains that you have to pick from to help you along the way. So one other thing I should mention is on this track, you'll see here that there are a couple symbols for clouds, right? If you look at the board, you're going to see these clouds that are here. This is a timing mechanism, and this is another way that you could lose the game. If at the beginning of your third turn, where you see that cloud there, your ship is not past the very first cloud, you immediately lose the game. So you're not allowed to stall out. It's going to keep you going and moving and progressing the game as you go along. So that's Sail. And folks, I really like this one. This is probably of all the board trick taking games, and the what I mean by board is that there is a board that you're interacting with. I mean, there's a lot of, the Crew, Lord of the Rings trick taking game that just involves the deck and some story, but this one I really like because it adds the element of like a board game, right? Where you're using the deck to manipulate pieces, your ship in this case, on the board. And this compared to some of the other ones that I've played, like Fox and the Forest Duet. Um, I really love the theme. The theme shines in here with the pirates and the Kraken and trying to duel that Kraken and avoid it and use your powers to get across the other side of the board. Guys, this I would rate this an 8.5, which is high. I would preface that though that there's two things that you're gonna wanna like in order to have that same feeling about this game. A, you gotta like trick taking games, right? There's not people. You either like trick taking games or you don't. Obviously, with this being one, you got to really enjoy that. And then cooperative games. Not everybody wants to play a cooperative trick taking games. And it does happen to be a mechanic that's getting ever so popular, right? And growing in popularity. But I think All Play does it right in this one. And if those two mechanics even remotely appeal to you, I think you're really going to like this game. As is typical with All Play, the components are just phenomenal. Even the non-deluxe pieces, the cardboard's of great quality. The artwork's always great. The finish on the cards, I always sleeve my cards anyway, but they're really nice and durable in this case. Yeah, this is a very solid game and one that I plan on keeping for a long time and one that I enjoy getting to the table. So folks, yeah, if you like trick taking, you like cooperative games, then this game is for you. Um, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, have fun gaming, everybody.